Recognize it with all the hurricane damage, but this was the Seahorse Café in St. Pete Beach. It was there forever. The owners have said they do plan on rebuilding. It was recently designated as a local historical site, but it's not the building that's historic. It's the 88-year backstory of the Seahorse.
Pretty impressive, as Fox 13's Lloyd Sowers shows us tonight. It was a big part of our social history, and a lot of us here live here because of it.
It's not a pretty picture, the storm-ravaged ruins of the Seahorse Café in Pass-a-Grille. It was Jack and Connie's favorite breakfast spot for years.
Bacon, eggs, and omelets.
It looks like it was hit by a bomb. And ironically, it was the real bombing of Pearl Harbor that sent U.S. GIs to war, but first here. When tourism shut down, Florida leaders invited the military.
We have everything you need. Right? We have hundreds of thousands of empty hotel rooms. We've got restaurants and cafeterias, and I don't know how many hundreds of miles of open beaches that you can practice the amphibious landing and all kinds of stuff.
The Vinoy became officers' quarters for the Air Corps. The Don Cesar became a military hospital. And the GIs, well, they became good customers at places like the Seahorse. And years ago, the owner of Masteries talked about it.
He told me once that Masteries made more money in that two and a half year period when the soldiers were here compared to the following 20 years. A lot of places like Masteries, like the Seahorse, these are just the places the soldiers went and hung out.
They liked it so much, many GIs returned, and many of us are descended from them. Imagine being your grandpa from Kansas getting sent here in 1942.
It's January, it's 75 degrees, you're drinking a beer on Spa Beach, right? You survive the war, you go back home to Kansas, it's 17 degrees. How long are you going to stay in Kansas?
No, you're going back to Florida. It was a huge factor in our area's growth.
Because World War II introduced Florida to the United States.
Unfortunately, the Seahorse, a favorite of the GI, suffered major damage, but the owners say the historical designation could make it easier for them to rebuild. Jack and Connie would like it.
Yeah, I sure hope they come back.
Just as the GIs came back for the weather, the bars, and the Seahorse, which many hope isn't gone for good. In St. Pete Beach, Lloyd Sowers, Fox 13 News.
Well, we reached out to the Seahorse to see if they have a target date to rebuild, and we are waiting to hear back from them.